Hi, my name is Cody, and today I will be speaking to you all about voting in the upcoming 2020 presidential election. My definition of voting is registering and casting a vote to elect an official into office. I actually registered this year to vote since I turned 18, and I had to do a lot of my own research pertaining to voting. I did reach out to some of my peers for some resources, but I ended up getting my own while I was waiting for my voter registration card. I will be using references for this speech. My references will include rightquestion.org, nationalgeographic.org, howto.vote, and inspiring young leaders at rfkhumanrights.org. I'm going to try to persuade you to vote compared to not voting in the 2020 presidential election. Voting is so important in our society, especially right now. It is important to have a way to teach and learn the importance of voting first. Rightquestion.org is a great tool that can be used when teaching or trying to convince someone that they should invoke their right and cast their vote. Right Question says that there is great potential, and I completely agree. Right Question brings attention to the missing voters. It focuses on low-income voters, and that is a huge percent of inactive voters. But I believe there is a more vital population when it comes to voting in the upcoming election, though. And it's us, the new generation, the upcoming generation, the young people. I want to talk a little bit more about Right Question before I move on. Right Question's Why a Vote tool is used to engage potential voters. When using the tool, voters are asked to make connections between the services they'd like to receive and the services that the candidates provide or promise to provide in their next term. This allows them to appreciate the right of voting. But we all have to take the next step together. There is huge importance in creating the democracy that we want to live in. So why exactly do we settle for a system that's all right when we're the ones who can influence it, when we're the ones that can control it? As you can probably see, we are the voices of this country, and we can influence the way we live our daily lives by casting our own individual vote. Not many like to pass blame on subjects like this, but there is a reason for this problem. Young people are not getting the education and the responsibility they need when it comes to the subject of voting. Many students and young people don't understand the weight and importance of casting their vote. So now that I've established the importance of voting, let's move on to the next point. We, the people, influence the government, and in the bigger scheme, our own quality of life. By educating those around us and about what voting influences, we can improve voter awareness and improve voter activity. National Geographic says that voting is our civic duty. I couldn't agree more. Our votes influence our state, our Senate, our country, and so much more. It's such a long list. So the president is elected through what is thought to be a balance between the popular vote and also using the state's representatives to select the next president. National Geographic also says that. It's called electoral college votes. So, by registering to vote, we increase our number of possible voters. This means there are more active voters. So how do I register, you might ask? In Mississippi, you can register by mail or in person. Says howto.vote. Considering our current situation, though, coronavirus, I suggest registering by mail. How to Vote says that all you have to do is fill out the registration form and mail it into your local election office. So the next step after registering is actually getting out and voting. By voting, we speak our opinion, and our voice is heard. This year, the easiest way to vote is by mail. Inspiring Young Leaders says that procedures may vary state to state. Inspiring Young Leaders also says that all you have to do in Mississippi is request a ballot, fill it out correctly, and then mail it back in. So, therefore, voting, it has never been easier, and it's honestly never been more important. Voting is like speaking directly to our state representatives when they're making a really hard decision, which is deciding the next president. So before I finish, I'd like to ask you to do two things. Though it is too late to register for the upcoming election, register for the next one. Register before the next one. There are elections all throughout the year. Just register and vote in the next one. And the second thing I'd like to ask you to do is, if you're already registered, I'd like to ask you to vote, to cast your vote on the 3rd of November this year, 2020. Voting is important. Our votes majorly influence our democracy, so it is our duty to vote. I ask that you take action during this election, because this one is going to be like no other election. It's going to change the world. So thank you for listening. Thank you for lending me your ears. Have a great day. Thank you for listening.